So hello and welcome to, well, Tycoon Town, this map's called. Now, I'm just going to ask the question, is Planet Coaster 2 actually any good? And I, I'll be honest, I'm not really that impressed with it, which is why a series hasn't actually happened yet. But I do believe that they are working on fixing the game. So I'm just going to build a small park, a small functional park, just to kind of show you the kind of problems I can see. I've got the money turned on just so you get the full aspect of it. So we're going to jump straight in and build a small roller coaster. So the menus just feel very clunky. They're not really that impressed with how the menus kind of appear. It's just a little bit, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right, like going through. Like, I do like how they've got these manufacturer names, but I'm not a fan at all, really. I'm just trying to think of which coaster we should start with, because we have got the research turned on as well, so we do need to research to get further development of the park. So one of the things I did try and do, not on camera, it is actually on the Steam Workshop, but I built the Big Dipper. Not Steam Workshop, the Frontier Workshop, because that's another thing. There's no Steam Workshop anymore, which is a big shame. Because I find that the Frontier Workshop, we'll have a look in that in a bit. We'll jump in and I'll show you the Big Dipper that I've built and how to find it. Hopefully, that's if I can find it. So we'll build a small wooden coaster to try and get a little bit of an amusement park-esque vibe. So what I've found is you need to kind of the snapping. You have to go through quite a lot of menus to kind of get to it. So I find that you have to be like -4%, so that kind of angle to keep it kind of moving. If you go any higher like that, it's gonna stall on the track because the friction seems to be quite high. On these, you used to be able to adjust it, but that looks to have been removed. I might be wrong. I've just not found the menu, but you can't adjust the friction on the coaster anymore. So you have to build pretty tall lift hills to get the ride to the end. Like, the builder itself isn't too bad until you want to go back to do an adjustment back here. And you used to be able just to kind of click the track and it would select it, but that's you just go, it places a section now, no matter where you click, it's like not really made for the PC in that aspect, so it'll just like build taller and taller. We're not going to build one that high, that's a bit ridiculous. So, oh yeah, I was going to say how to go back to here. You have to kind of go to edit mode and then select these things to kind of move to the section you want. And if you want to start from the back, I often build coasters from the back. And again, you're going to need a little bit of a slope. I don't think there's friction tyres on the blocks on these, which is kind of correct because they didn't have the friction tyres. So if you're building a block break on this type of coaster, make sure it's angled downwards. But you see, like, even just we've added 2 blocks there. The idea the first one doesn't really do anything, and we're already quite a way up with the coasters. So let's see what we can build. Let's see what we can build. We'll go to edit mode again to switch to this side. It's just a bit clunky. Is probably the best way to put it. I like the shape of that one. A little bit too steep. I want to try and maximise that first drop height. Get kind of as much as we can out of it. That's kind of eyeballing this. We've already lost quite a lot of momentum, even though we have significantly built that hill quite a lot lower. We are going to start thinking about heading back to the station, essentially. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of bank on that. Not too much. Probably going to be a good idea to kind of start going from this end now to join that back up and use the auto complete. See how like it's too slow? We might have to make that a bit lower. But I'm trying to keep these like relatively spaced out and low to the ground to make sure it is going to make it back. But we'll see how that goes. build this one a little bit deeper. I was going to smooth that, but I'm not sure why it's not giving me the option there. There we go. Like, I have played this on the Steam Deck, and it does actually play not too bad on the Steam Deck with the actual D-pad, and like it plays a lot easier than how Planet Coaster did on it. So it is definitely more designed for consoles, but is it gonna make it? It's not gonna make it. Yeah. So it has indeed made it round, but it feels a bit like, I don't know if any of you remember, but the Cyclone at Pleasureland Southport, where it used to get to this turnaround and just lose all its momentum. So what I am going to do is, I'm wondering if I can maybe smooth that. Can I bring that down a bit and bring? I'm not too fussed about that bit. Can this bit be lowered? It looks a little bit roller coastery now. That actually looks a little bit more realistic, the kind of speed to be going around that kind of corner now. It's a little bit quicker. Just a little adjustment just to kind of get it right. I don't really like this weird... I wonder how that actually looks when you're on it. Actually, it might not be too bad. We'll leave it there. I'm not going to play around with it. This is just to kind of show the problems that I'm having with the game. So we'll leave that where it is. So let's build our queue line. So I think this is probably the biggest disappointment for me, is the queue setup. Now, you can get it a little bit improved by having the onload and offload. So having the offload on this side and the onload on this side, but I'm going to have them both on the same side for now, just to kind of show what I'm getting at. I'm going to place it in the worst possible configuration. So you can optimize it a little bit by moving your exit and entrance to be in certain places, but I really want to show off what's irking me about the game, essentially. The path tool's okay. It took a little bit of getting used to. but you can use your shift key to kind of move the path to be like where you want it, which is okay, but it can get a little bit like there. It's getting a little bit glitchy. It's decided it wants to put a square there. Not sure why, but we'll just leave it be for now. I quite like how you can have like quite fluid corners. One thing I don't like is there's no option for square cues. So even though it's done it there, it looks a bit weird. But you can't kind of just build a square queue, which means you're going to be a little bit more limited on theming your queue lines, and especially if you want them to go through a building, because it's going to make it particularly difficult to try and gauge where it's going, essentially. So I think the way you'd have to do it is just build the queue first without the queue line being in it, and then put the queue line in after. But the issue with that is you might end up putting the queue line in after and it not being particularly happy with what you're wanting to do. So one thing I do love about this though, this tool, you can build a pathway very quickly, and quite a big pathway. You can build a plaza, so nice big open space. So that's quite cool. I do like this kind of feature, and you can add. Let's say we wanted to put in like a bit of an extra shape there. You can do that. I think I have broken the queue line now by doing that, so I'm probably gonna have to go back in and adjust that. It can be a little bit of a pain, but mostly the path tool is actually quite good. There we go. I've fixed it. So that's okay now. So people come into the park. Let's put in a exit path. I think we're getting to the point now where I'm really going to start ripping into the game. Once I've got this in. There we go. So that's connected up now. So we'll get our roller coaster open. Oh, we can't because there's no power, and this is another thing that really... Like, I know roller coasters need power, like, that is obvious, but I just think the way it's implemented is just micromanagingly infuriating, is probably the best way to put it. So, let's change this into block sectioned, and we're going to have 2 trains on this. So we can't open it because we've got no power. We can test it though. The lift hill works fine, even though we've got no power. So now we need to go into the facilities and get the facilities set up. So we'll go into the custom just to kind of show you what options we've got. So one thing I really don't like is how similar these things look, particularly these water filters and water pumps. They both look the same, apart from a slightly different colour, and depending on the time of day, that could be quite difficult to work out what's doing what. So if you're building a water park, just be careful of that, because yeah, it might cause you some problems. So we're going to build a power generator. Now, one thing I don't like is it'll let you snap this the wrong way around, so your mechanics can't get to it. So make sure you're looking at that arrow to make sure that you are placing it somewhere where your mechanics can get to it. I'm going to place it over here, as if it's a part of the ride. Now, what you need to do, once you've placed your generator, you need to put in one of these distributors. Otherwise, it simply won't work. Now, the thing with the distributors, I don't think the mechanics need to get to it, so you can kind of place these anywhere you want. But it does have like a cabinet on it, as if it's supposed to do something. So, yeah, I'm not really sure if they need access or not. I don't think they do. And that's floating in midair. Why is that floating in midair? Let's put this in advanced mode then. Right next to paths cannot cross. Okay. Is this why it wouldn't let me place it? So that to me sounds like you need to have that hooked up to a pathway for someone to be able to get to it, but it doesn't say anything about. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about needing. Anything particular. So we're gonna just. I think you have to have these entrances powered, but they seem to work like either way. So I'm not sure, but it goes at the right color when you do that. So that is now. Well, this should now have power. Okay, right. Open. There we go. So we have 2 trains on this roller coaster. It's only a small roller coaster, but it gives you the idea. So, let's jump into some of the problems. So, where is... I'm looking for the bins, and this is why I've not done a series on it yet, because I just don't really know the game well enough to be able to... It's so different to Planet Coaster that I wouldn't be comfortable making a build on this, because it won't look as good as the stuff I've done in the past, and I just know I haven't got the kind of the skill, and or more so the time, because you have no idea how much time I sank into Planet Coaster doing the last build. A lot of hours went into that build, and I just don't have the time to kind of, especially with this system being a lot slower to build than with Planet Coaster, I just don't really want to. Where are they? Is it in here? There we go. It's an underpass, of course it is. So let's... Oh no, it's not underpass. Where is it? Oh, custom, that's why. Yeah. There we go, found it. So we'll just put in a few bins around the area. A few benches just scattered around. I'm not doing anything too... There's not really any kind of purpose to it. Now, one thing you used to be able to do in Planet Coaster on the original game is if you wanted to place this in the middle, it'd kind of snap to it, whereas now it doesn't. So you're like, right, that looks about right, and then you zoom in, and to be fair, I've not done too badly there, but you can see it's not quite centered, so you have to kind of go in and use the advanced move, and then it doesn't really line up in the direction it needs to go, so you're kind of fiddling around with it. And it won't let me... Why won't it let me click that? There we go. Then you've got to kind of just keep moving around and to kind of get it in the centre, which is a little bit annoying. Whereas that would have been just one click in Planet Coaster. That's another thing that is on the list of problems that I found. So let's put in some shops. And we're going to get some staff, and then this is where it's going to kind of get really, really fun. I need to actually add a pathway to that generator, actually. So they have staff paths now. So pop that there.
Tasty.
we can go into the moaning about how there's a bit of micromanaging with the food now as well. Like guests will only eat certain types of food, which is, I suppose, is accurate, but you have to kind of go into the menus if you want to optimize it to be as best as possible. And I'll be honest, I'm not really interested. It does kind of by default work out what you're trying to do, but it's like a normal soda shop that'll appeal to everyone, hopefully. And then the staff rooms have had a bit of an overhaul, so we'll get into this now. So you need, to be fair, I could probably get away with a medium-sized staff room or staff facility. These need power as well, so we'll have to get this connected up. And this thing here is a workshop for the mechanics, so we're going to build a couple of these, because if you want to research, you now have to put mechanics in. What's happened here? Oh, there we go. You have to put mechanics inside. Also, with the pathing tool, you can actually, with the stamp builder, you can kind of select the size of it. It is pretty good at snapping to what you want. So that is a lot quicker than it would be on Planet Coaster doing that. So that's quite cool. You used to have to go into the menu and kind of select it, get it into its like zone, if you will. So that is quite good. I have built the wrong path there though, so I'm not really sure how you change a path. I don't think you can. I think you've got to, if you do build the wrong one, you just got to delete it. Try that again, but with staff path. There we go. Cool. There we go. So we've got staff facilities in there. So now we need to go back to the power and add in another power distributor. But I have a feeling we're going to need another generator, because we've added quite a lot of shops and facilities. So we'll add that in and go back to that menu and add that. Add in the power lines between the attractions. So yeah, there we go. Let's get these open. Right, let's get some staff. So I'm going to create a... Now this is going to show one of the biggest problems you're going to have with this game is... So I'm only going to have the one zone for this area, so we'll colour all this in. There we go. We'll call it the park entrance. Park entrance. I don't think you can zone them by clicking on them. You have to go into the Park Management tab, staff. And then, how do you do this again? There's a way of doing this. trying to work out how to do it. There's a way of doing it. It shouldn't be this hard. You should be able to just click on the person and like add them to the zone. Where is it? I have done this. I'm acting like I haven't done it now. I have done it, I swear. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Come on. It must be under here somewhere. This is the kind of thing that bugs me, is that well, this should be really easy to do. There's no option to add the staff to that zone. Where is it? It must be somewhere. I can't remember how to do it now. I've done it. I did it in a park, and one of the bugs is, particularly the janitors, if you assign them to a zone to keep tidy, they won't empty any of the bins out, so it just kind of overflows. And oh, I think I know how to do this now. So you click on here, then you have to go into advanced, staff zone, park entrance, apply to all day, confirm, and then I believe if we go onto there, they are now doing that task all day. So yeah, it's a system. You should really be able to just assign them by clicking on them, in my personal opinion. So I'm not going to zone these guys. We've got our mechanic here. Staff schedule, and we'll change this guy to park entrance as well. There we go. So so that's a very small functional park now. So we've got our roller coaster here. And we could kind of observe my problem with the game, essentially, where people just don't get off the ride very quickly. It is the same in Planet Coaster 1, to be fair, but you'll see when this train comes in. Just a nice, slow, leisurely walk to the exit. Take your time, you know. I just don't know why the air gates don't open, like, as soon as everyone's kind of clear of that first section. Like, people should be getting on the train now, rather than just sitting there empty, not doing anything. And it'll only let them in as soon as the last person step through here. And then you'll run in. And they're happy. And away they go. So, yeah, it's... If you have the exit on this side, it isn't as bad because they don't have as far to walk. So it operates a little bit more realistically, essentially. But it's just the fact there's no urgency for them to kind of clear the platform. Whereas, like, when they're boarding the train, they kind of run to it. Like, I'm not saying, like, they need to run around, but the walking pace just seems, like, so slow. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it could be a little bit quicker. And also, like, they should be boarding now. Like, these gates should be open and people getting on the ride, essentially. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. So the queue lines and stations, I believe they're overhauling the stations a bit, so we'll have to see what happens with the update. Also, I don't know if it's happening right now. I think it is, but you do get to a point where everyone just leaves the park in one go, and then everyone comes back in the park in one go. And again, that's... I think they're trying to simulate it as days, which is fair enough, but you're also getting people kind of constantly coming in and going out. There's no cash machines in the game either, so people have like no incentive to stay within the park. So I think that's why they're doing that, because there's no cash machines. They can't go and like get more cash to stay longer, essentially. Which is a big shame, because I think like having a constant flow in and out, like, yeah, I suppose it adds a little bit of realism, but if you're only going to come in and do one ride and then go home, I think that's kind of taken away from the game. And if you have a particularly large park, people are probably not going to make it to the back of the park before deciding, you know what, I'm going home now, which is a big shame. We've got a fair few entertainers. You've got your Chief Beef back. King Coaster is still around. You've got your F&B characters as well. And you've got a couple of new ones. Well, actually, there's 4 new ones here. I've not really tinkered with these or put them in. So we'll put this Viking guy in. I've not seen them, so they might be quite cool.
Right.
It is quite cool. I do like the characters that they've put into the games. I don't necessarily always like the sounds they make. They sound a bit weird. Just making noises as they walk around. So, what do I think of Planet Coaster 2? You know what? I think it's a beautiful game and has a heck of a lot of potential. It's just a frustration because it feels like it's been rushed out. Like, it's like, oh, we decided, you know what, we're going to do a new game. You've got a month to make it. Kind of using the old Planet Coaster engine, but just modernising it for modern systems. I was expecting quite a large performance gain with it going to DirectX 12. Haven't really noticed a massive improvement on the performance of the game, unfortunately. So I can't really say, yeah, you know what, that's brilliant, because frankly, it isn't. I just, as soon as you start getting a busy full park, I think the most I've had is like 3,000 people, it starts to kind of really lag out and get a bit glitchy. I've had quite a lot of game crashes while playing this compared to Planet Coaster. I've not really had that on Planet Coaster at all. In the early days of Planet Coaster I did. It happened quite a lot, so I'm hoping that they're going to fix a lot of the crashes that are happening. One other thing I was going to show was the Frontier Workshop. So we'll just show you that quickly now. I personally, I'm not a fan. I think that the Steam Workshop worked a lot better and a lot more reliable. There are times where I've not been able to access this just due to, it's particularly when it first launched, you couldn't get on to this to view any of the creations. So let's search for the Big Dipper. Mine might not come up. Other people have probably created something a bit better now. I don't think it's going to come up. That's a shame. But it is sorting by publication date. I don't really know how its like tags are working. There's a lot of big wheels. Yeah, well, it's kind of proving a point that it's quite disjointed. That you're typing in Big Dipper, it's not really searching for the tag. It's just kind of going on whatever's been created recently, which is a big shame. We can find it this way. There we go. There's my Big Dipper that we've got there. So, yeah, I created that just as a bit of a test. It's not quite 100%, but that was the first coaster I kind of built on Planet Coaster 2. So we can actually go back and place that by going into our coasters, and it should be just here. There we go. It's kind of based on Big Dipper at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Like I say, it's not 100%, but one of the issues I was having is trying to keep the momentum up to get the train around the circuit is particularly challenging. Like, getting it to just this little tiny lift hill and keeping it accurate and just getting it to fit to where it's supposed to be was really a challenge. I also like the clearance space. It is actually quite narrow there, so you wouldn't want to stand up on this thing. But yeah, I think it kind of came out okay, but it does need a little bit of tweaking to be perfect. I did actually try adding also the lift hill super fast, otherwise it doesn't make it round. It won't make it to the end if it's not a super quick lift hill, which is also annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah, so the workshop, like, I do think it's a big step backwards compared to Planet Coaster, which is a massive shame. I hope that they kind of refine the search terms a bit so you can actually find what you're looking for, because there's some really good creations out there that people have spent a lot of time on and created some really cool things. But you've got to really go looking for it to find what it is you're looking for, because it doesn't come up straight away. Someone could have like the best rated coaster and it be super amazing, and it's just no one can find it because it's pushed to the back, while all the new stuff's just up at the top of the list essentially, and the new stuff isn't always particularly fantastic. So yeah, it's a crying shame that they've changed away from using the Steam Workshop. So we'll delete that. We don't want that in this park. No, I'm just wondering if we've got the bin issue yet. There we go. Overflowing bin, but we do have this person wandering around just not really dealing with it. Same here, overflowing bin. If someone drops litter, they will actually do it, but they just won't empty bins. They just kind of wander around. Not ideal. What else was I going to show? There was something else that I can't remember what it was. Ah, yes. Water parks. Don't build them. Destroy your park, essentially. We'll get a blueprint up of a small kind of water park. The water parks are massively overpowered with the game, essentially. So we'll just build a small pre-build. So if you're building a water park, you need to have certain shops. Oh, what are they? Changing rooms. I think you need a guest services as well. Yeah, people do use the guest services quite a lot. You can see like everyone kind of flocking towards guest services. I think that is to get the pool pass. I think they do sell like yeah, there we go. There's the pool pass there. So that gets them access to the pool. And I just don't really like how overpowered the water parks are, because they become like very overcrowded very quickly. I haven't quite worked out how to use the pathing tool on these yet as well. So I need to learn a little bit about how to kind of build a decent water park, if you will. I am kind of wondering if we'll see someone go down one of these slides, because I'm not sure how bad these are, but some of the slides are pretty awful, like when it comes to the physics. Which is annoying, because in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 we had, which actually Frontier developed Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, for those of you who don't know, who actually done this game. The physics on the water rides were actually quite good. Like, you know, they actually went round corners and weren't fixed flat, whereas it seems to be like people are kind of fixed flat to the slides. Actually, this one seems to be a lot better. Like, they do seem to be sliding a little bit at least. But yeah, that's just another kind of gripe that I've got with it. Like, I do quite like the idea of having a water park in a theme park. I know it's very common over in America, not so much over here, but like there are some notable instances, such as Alton Towers have a water park, Europa Park over in Germany, they have a water park at their theme park, or their theme park and hotels, which is like another day in itself with how popular it is out there and how big it is. But yeah, give this any time and you'll see like it'll get swamped. So obviously I've not themed any of these buildings. This is just to kind of showcase why I've not started a Planet Coaster series yet. Now, I believe there is a patch coming soon. I don't know when. You know what? By the time I release this, it's probably already come out, which will address a lot of these problems. That this is really frustrating because you kind of got to zone your staff, otherwise they'll wander around everywhere, and like the only way we're going to get that bin emptied is by just having someone who wanders around or has the freedom to kind of go where they want, so they'll actually empty it, while this person who's zoned to do it is just wandering around doing pretty much nothing. So with the amount of people who are queuing for the changing rooms, I imagine this small pool is going to get overwhelmed very quickly. So right, Planet Coaster 2, what do I think? You know what, like, it is a beautiful game. Disappointed that it hasn't got the performance increase that the game probably should have. I'm also a little bit disappointed that the guest limit of 6,000 is very disappointing. It kind of means if you build like a large water park and a theme park that you're never going to fill it. I really don't like how people like almost constantly leave and re-enter the park, so there's no really incentive for them to kind of explore further back in the park because they're never going to make it there. So I guess that means you're going to have to like plan out your transport rides to try and get people equally spread around the park very quickly, or you're going to run into trouble with rides at the back not being very popular. You could build the best roller coaster in the world at the back of the park, and I think you'd find everyone will just go to like the water park or something instead if you've got one, and not go to the roller coaster, which is again another shame. I probably won't build a water park and a theme park together at the moment. It just seems very broken. If you build a substantially sized water park, it attracts like everyone in the theme park, and your rides just have like no queue. Like that's just my experience that I've had like so far. Maybe I just built bad rides, but the rides just become incredibly unpopular if you build a really good water park, which I did get a little bit disappointed with. I just think the game is just very broken at the moment. It feels rushed. That's probably the best way to put it. It feels like they've rushed it out, and like it kind of works. So we'll just chuck out this game and try and get some money out of it. Which, you know what, like that's fair enough that they're saying they're gonna fix it, but it just gives everyone a bit of a bad first impression of the game that has the potential to be really good, and I'm sure it will be in time. But I think it just needed a little bit more polish time before releasing. I'd rather them have delayed it maybe a month or two to kind of fix these things, and then say here's a nice new game to play and the successor to Planet Coaster that we all kind of wanted. The micromanaging is a little bit frustrating, like the staff breaks and having to organise around the staff, and the generator, for instance, is kind of annoying because if your mechanic isn't instantly there, this will degrade, and then they'll go and fix it, but it doesn't repair the condition. So if you lose condition, it it kind of like reduces it. I just don't really like how you have to constantly keep clicking on the generators to refurb them, and that's partly because you haven't got enough staff. But I've literally had loads of mechanics there, and they've not been to attend it. So, you know, that's the other thing I was going to show as well. That I find a little bit irritating. So get our mechanics, and so we need to go into the staff schedule again. Where is it? There we go. Go into the advanced. So we'll put them to research. And you've got to kind of do that for each mechanic you want to do research. So I'll just set those up now. Research all day. There we go. I sound like I'm just having a big moan, really, but I just think it's just a little bit naff, really. They can't reach. Well, you can reach Wooden Coaster 1, but the queue's not big enough, so that won't be a problem soon. Everyone's going to be in the water park. You see, it's already getting pretty crowded there. And the other thing that you need to do with water parks, which you haven't done, which will cause us problems in the near future, is you've got to get your water pumps and water filters. Again, these kind of work in a similar way to I've done it again. These work in a similar way to the power generators. So these will actually stop working over time. So when the service certificate expires, a mechanic will need to come sprinting over and repair it instantly, or you're going to start losing your water availability, essentially. So it'll get less and less and less until you end up with something that's hardly functional. So if you're building a bigger park, it becomes a bit out of control very quickly. I just kind of wish there was a bit more leeway, like between, rather than it saying the service certificate is expired, the condition's going to degrade instantly, which I understand that is the case. I think there should be a little window where it gives time for the engineer to get there, like not a ridiculous amount of time, but like, you know, just maybe give it 5 minutes before the condition starts to degrade, because then if you haven't hired enough mechanics, you're going to feel that punishment for not hiring enough mechanics. Whereas having it degrade straight away, you could have loads of mechanics, but because the mechanic is here and it takes them whatever time from there to walk around here and get to this, it's already degraded like a fair bit, and that doesn't recover when the mechanic fixes it. At least that's what I've noticed on my park. I don't know if that's a bug, but it doesn't repair it, essentially. So, and also there's no servicing on these anymore. Like, I don't think the mechanics actually. Yeah, so I think you get your breakdowns, but it's working in a similar way to how these pumps are working, essentially. So when this service expires, your mechanic's got to sprint over there and do it. I just wish that, again, there was an option to kind of service it before it expires, so you don't get that degrading. Maybe I'm playing the game wrong, I don't know, but I haven't found an option to allow that, so you have to wait for it to completely fail before you can kind of service it, and I just think there should be an option to kind of service it before it fails. Kind of like in real life, really. Like, you don't let it break before you look at it. You try and fix things before they get to a failure point, but again, there's no option to allow you to do that in the game, which is a frustration, because in Planet Coaster you could say, oh, I want them to inspect the coaster every 10 minutes. Which again also is not very realistic. You don't inspect a roller coaster every 10 minutes. you usually do your daily checks. So obviously if something does happen you have to go back sooner, but like, yeah, you get the gist though. You don't wait for it to break before you kind of look at it. You do your inspections on a more frequent basis. You can already see how like much quieter the wooden coaster is, and we've got this like traffic jam happening in our water park now. There's clearly not enough space for them to walk around. So, can you not actually get to the water slide? Oh, there's no staff assigned. Oh yeah, because I don't think I've hired anyone, have I? So you've got to like sort their breaks out as well. So if you have lifeguards, you got to cover them. Hopefully one of those staff members will go up and start the slide. Oh, is it a ride attendant we need? Is it actually a ride attendant for the body slides? Surely not. Oh, it is. Okay, so ride attendants do the body slides. I thought it would have been a lifeguard, but I guess not. So the lifeguards purely just patrol the pool. So what do I like about the game? I've talked a lot about what I don't like. What I do like is the choice of coasters. There's quite a few. There's quite a few new ones. I haven't researched them, so I can't really show them. But I quite like the water coaster that's been added. There's the Intamin multi-dimension coaster that's been added. That's really fun to play with. And I do enjoy that coaster. I'm not biased in any way. I quite like the other the multi-dimension coaster, a bit like Uncharted at Port Ventura. That's really cool to play with as well, with all the trick tracks that they've got. I also like the flat ride choice that you have when you've got everything fully researched. It's fantastic. You can have so much kind of going on within the game, and so much choice that I think the theming options they've made so far in the game are fantastic. I really like the mythology and Viking areas. I think they do work really well. I would like to see more, like a western area and other kind of expansion upon the like different themes like pirates, and you can kind of make like whatever you want essentially out of the parts that are given. So it's not like you're limited to just doing Vikings and whatnot. But it's going to take a lot of time to build something custom within the game. And it's one of those where I'd rather have the I'm probably a minority here. I'd rather have more options, more theming options. So if I want to build a western area, have western themes. If I want to build a pirate area, have the pirate themes. Like, I guess the workshop or people will probably make their own over time. So you're probably going to be relying heavily on the workshop with people who are making these items for you. But I do like that you have the ability to kind of create anything, which is fantastic. I like the addition of the water parks, even though it's flawed. It doesn't work very well at the moment, but I just think like this little showcase here just give the potential of like what a water park can be like in a theme park. So I think that's really good. Would I buy Planet Coaster? Planet Coaster 2 at this point in time? Probably not. I was left very disappointed upon first playing it, which is a real shame. But the fixes are on the way, so I think I need to come back to this when they've sorted a lot of the bugs out, because at the moment I'm not really enjoying playing it compared to Planet Coaster. It just doesn't really tick the box for me at the moment. It's just so many problems with it that need fixing, and I'm sure they will fix it. I think at the moment the better value would be to get Planet Coaster the original with the expansion packs, and I think you'd have a much better experience. But that's not to say I'm writing Planet Coaster 2 off. Like, it does have a lot of really good potential. There is a lot of good things about the game. I'm gonna try and just get my head around some of the functionality of it, and hopefully create something soon. I'm not sure when that's going to be. I think it's probably going to be after the next patch they put out. There's already released one patch which did fix quite a lot of the problems already, but I think after the next patch it'll probably be a more playable game, and I might look into doing a series with Planet Coaster 2. But again, I just gonna have to pick it up and see kind of how it goes. I've got a franchise going at the moment with another friend, so I'm kind of tinkering in that park to see what I can create and what we can do. Had problems there as well. With that, some of the coasters didn't work as they're supposed to, and again, that's just another frustration that kind of annoyed me. Like, particularly the surf coaster. Like, just a simple thing with a surf coaster that is annoying is that you get the optional catwalk, and you can add the catwalk to the side of the brake run, but when you click it, it adds a net, which, to be fair, it does have a net underneath it to stop items from falling onto people, but I'd rather have like made the net myself and just click the button for the catwalk, because building the catwalk's going to be a much more of a pain than building a net over a walkway. You know, it's just little things like that that kind of bug me. So this is a good idea of like what's happening. So our mechanic will be heading to this very shortly, and the ride condition's going to start degrading. You see the cost of the refurbish is increasing. In fact, I've got a lot of mechanics here, so it's not going to be too long before they get to it and sort it out. Also, it's a little bit irritating that the ride attendants are on the staff rotation schedule. Now, I know that's how it works in real life, but it's just another aspect of micromanaging. Where did the mechanic go then? He walked in and then disappeared. Oh no, there's another one appeared now. I'm not sure what happened there. Let's watch this guy do his thing. Oh yeah, so that condition's like degraded in just that amount of time, so he instantly walked there. Like I kind of agree that, you know, conditions should go down over time, but I just don't really like how it's so rapid between like the engineer getting there. I think this one is that one degraded, so you see how we've lost this now. So this is only producing 98 power because it is degraded. The condition of it, I believe. Or is that how much power is available? That's how much power is available. Sure, it does degrade though if you. Yeah, so it's this condition. So you get like you lose power if this doesn't get maintained properly. I'm just saying there's a lot of micromanaging going on. I don't like clicking into all these constantly to check the condition of them and renew them and emergency refurb, like because the emergency refurbish does kind of reset it, but you've got to go finding them and clicking them, and there seems to be a bit of an issue here. Okay. Oh dear. Oh, it's not done it. Oh dear. Yeah. I haven't worked out to the paths properly on the pools, but that pathway needs to be a bit bigger. Everyone seems to have got stuck. It might be because of this. And this deck chair. I don't think I'm going to be able to click it. There you go. Hopefully that'll help them kind of get to where they need to be. But yeah, like if you've got the money for it, then you know what, it's probably you're gonna have a bit of fun with it. And like I say, the coaster options are quite vast, and there's a lot more you can do with it. I quite like the switch tracks that they've added, but yeah, I'd try and wait on a little bit for them to kind of fix the game a bit more, as it is quite broken at the moment. I think one of the funniest things that I've had happen so far was with the water slides. I realised if you build multiple water slides coming from the top, you can kind of set whatever price you want on one of them because you pay for each one. So, but you can set like one of the slides to like a ridiculous price, and when you get to the top, they don't get to choose where they go. So if you go down your slide, they pay it, no matter what you put it on it. Because you can put like the highest price on it, and they'll just like happily just go down and pay the money, which I don't know if that's how it should be. It feels like that shouldn't be right though. Like surely they'd look at it and go, "I'm not paying 100 to go down a water slide," because you'd have to be pretty insane to pay that kind of price to go on a water slide. But yeah, no, they happily just go down and pay it. So if you want to make lots of money very quickly, there you go. You know a glitch now you can kind of use. So if you build like a multi-lane water slide, you can set one of them to a stupid price, which is mental. Because I did notice that when they were joining the queue, that they were all wanting to go on the same particular slide. So no one wanted to go on the slide that was stupidly priced, but they just go down anyway. So why not? You know. So there we have it. That's kind of my thoughts on the game as it is as of today. And I just hope they kind of improve it. And when they do, I'll be back to make a series. I just don't think I'm quite ready to jump on board quite yet with it. I think it just needs a little bit more tweaking. There is an update on the way to fix a lot of the problems that I've mentioned. So when that update comes out, I'm sure I'll be jumping on board and building a small park. So If you've enjoyed me moaning for the past, what was say, hour or so, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't, then I'm sorry. Next time, hopefully, I'll be a bit more positive. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.